What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my college football week 5 preview and picks. As always, hit that subscribe button down below to get us to 500 subscribers, where I will be doing a giveaway. We'll look at last week's results and tie with another perfect week going 13-0, where I had a rough week, and now we are back for this year's record. Out of 59 games, we're both 47-12. And this week, we'll have a different pick, but most of it's going to be the same. So one of us will break the tie, and we'll go into this week with the new leader. But we'll start tonight, 7 p.m. Louisville, NC State. Should be a great game in the ACC. Could dictate how the standings are going to go for the next few weeks. Both going with the Cardinals here on the road. They've been playing some good football through the first 4 games. Where NC State needs to prove some people wrong here and get a big win at home. And if they can do that, then that Wolfpack might be jumping into the top 25. Then after this one, you're going to turn it to this game. Utah, Oregon State should be a great game. Cam Rising should be back in this one. He's planning on playing, and he is a big add for them. Their first 4 games were kind of a struggle without him. Offense wasn't themselves, but now with this defense and the offense, I'm going with Utah, and I think they win big here. I know Oregon State's favored, but I think they easily cover that, and I think they beat them by probably a touchdown. The defense is too much for Oregon State. Moving over to tomorrow on Saturday, at 12, you got a good SEC matchup. Kentucky, Florida. Florida has been a hit or miss team for me, and I'm going with the Wildcats along with Ty. The Wildcats, they've just played really good. Even replacing Will Levis, this team hasn't missed a beat so far in their first 4 games. I think the trend continues here heading into week 5. Then on ABC, you have Clemson and Syracuse, and probably a lot of people thought the records would be swapped at this point. Clemson 2-2, Syracuse 4-0. I'm going with the orange, the Syracuse, and I think they're going to get a huge win at home. And Clemson with a losing record doesn't look right, but I think it's going to happen. More ties in the other direction, coming off a tough loss to their rival Florida State. If they can bounce back, get a win there, then possibly run the table. This Clemson team could still have a chance at an ACC title. On the SEC network, you have Texas A&M, Arkansas. Should be a no-brainer here. Texas A&M should go on the road and win this one. I'm not sure if they'll cover, but I think they will win convincingly. And it may be a fourth quarter game at the beginning, but I think A&M closes it out late at the end. Arkansas, though, is a scrappy team, and I expect them to put up a good fight. Then on Fox, I'm sure this is going to be the game that everyone's watching tomorrow. It's going to be USC, Colorado, 2 of the best quarterbacks in the nation with Caleb Williams and Shedeur Sanders. Sanders obviously doesn't have Travis Hunter still, but he still has all his other weapons. And Caleb Williams, well, it's Caleb Williams, let's be honest here. Caleb Williams is going to dominate in this one. Colorado's defense is kind of, lost a beat since Travis Hunter's been injured. And then the offensive line for Colorado showed it's a very weak spot last week against Oregon, and USC is going to take advantage of that. So I expect USC to win here, but I don't think they cover. It should say Colorado 21.5. But at home, I think they'll put up a much better fight than they did last week in Oregon. And then on CBS, you have Georgia, Auburn. Should be a great game, and I think Auburn's going to cover in this one at home. I think Georgia wins by like 10, but Georgia, they've started to get some more momentum. That South Carolina game really concerns me. I know they struggled in the first half, but played well in the second. But if they play a half like that against a really good SEC team like an LSU, Bama, someone top tier, I don't think there's room for comeback there, and that concerns me still. So I think Georgia's going to get the win outright to move to 5-0 and stay number 1, but I think Auburn's going to put up a good fight. At 3:30, you got Kansas and Texas, 2 undefeated Big 12 teams here. Texas, obviously, the big winner so far this year, beating Alabama on the road, and that earned them the number 3 ranking. And now they get 24 Kansas coming to town, and both of these teams 4-0. Should be a big matchup. Texas is going to win this one, but I think Kansas covers. Kansas, they have a high-flying offense still with Jalen Daniels. And if he can perform well and really play just as good as Quinn Ewers, then I think this could be a close game late. Then on Fox, our Michigan Wolverines head to Nebraska in what should be a very tough game for them. I know Nebraska's 2-2, but they play better than the record says right now. And if Michigan can get ahead early, then I don't think Nebraska's going to come back from that. But if they let them stick around, then it's anybody's game heading into the fourth quarter. The tide turned for Michigan, I think, in 2021 when they went to Nebraska. We're celebrating going into the fourth quarter when everybody gets amped. They got amped too. And I think that's when this Wolverines program turned a page. And since that moment, they've been really good. Only regular season losses. have been, well, not then. They haven't had any since then. And the only losses they've had are in the college football playoff to end their year. So if Michigan can go in there, get a win, which they are expected to do, they'll move to 5-0 and just another step closer to the undefeated season. LSU Ole Miss should be a great game. And this game feels like whoever loses is going to be, well, at least Ole Miss's sake, whoever loses is going to be knocked out of the SEC. LSU, if they suffer their first SEC loss, they still got a chance. But Ole Miss, if they have two SEC losses, more than likely they're out of the running for the SEC championship. But I think we're going Ole Miss because it's at home here. It's a big game. Jackson Dart needs the rebound after last week. And LSU just hasn't looked like the same team last year. But this is a prove it game for me for LSU. If they can go in there and get a big win, then these Tigers might be right back on the map. 7:30, big game for both of these programs. Notre Dame needs the rebound after losing a heartbreaker at home to Ohio State last week. And then Duke, if they can get this win at home against Notre Dame, they're probably a top 10 team next week. Riley Leonard's going to have to show up and show out in this one if the Blue Devils want to win. He's been doing good on the ground, but through the air is where he's going to have to really solidify himself as not just a top quarterback in next year's class, but in college football right now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Notre Dame defense is going to be too much for them. Notre Dame played really well against Ohio State and limited them. I think they're going to do kind of the same to Duke here. So I like Notre Dame, and I like them to cover as well. Then the last game, you have Michigan State and Iowa. And Michigan State, well, I should say Michigan State versus Iowa, but Michigan State really can't figure things out right now. The program is in disarray. Mel Tucker's gone. He's suing the school. Just a lot of stuff going on in the state program. Now Iowa, well, beat pretty bad by Penn State last week, and they need to come out and show me that, that wasn't, it is a fluke game, and the offense doesn't pretty much suck like we all thought they would this year. Cade McNamara has been better, but it's still kind of the same old Iowa team that can't score with a great defense. And if they can come out and put up, I think, at least 24 on Michigan State, that'd really show me that this Iowa team is a good team. But that's going to be it for this week's video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to be entered in our giveaway, and check back next week to see how Ty and I did on our picks. And Ty will be with me next week as we make the video. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.